Hi everyone, and welcome to Creative Chelsey. Today I'm excited to share with you my fifth and last alternative card using the June 2023 paper pumpkin kit called Welcome In. This beautiful kit creates 9 handmade cards. There are enough supplies to make 3 of each of these cards. Each month I take the contents from the paper pumpkin kits and make alternative projects. Today I'm sharing with you an easy scrap card with the leftover pattern and solid pieces from the kit. If you are new to my channel and want to see more of my videos, click on the subscribe button in the bottom right corner. I would love to be your Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and help you with any of your paper crafting needs. To purchase any of the products you see me use today, please visit my online store and the link is below in the description. So over the last couple days, I have been gathering my scraps that I have left over after making all the projects that I have shown you this week. So I have this thin scrap. This is about 1.5 inches by 5.5 inches of the white pattern card base. I have kind of a shorter scrap. I have the front piece of the envelope that I still haven't used all the way up. I have a 1/2 inch piece of the Night of Navy card base, as well as a larger piece that's about 3 inches by 4.25 inches of that Night of Navy card base as well. And you really can do lots of things with these, but I really like just a nice simple scrap card. And so what I'm going to do is just cut some of these down, and then we're going to add them to this to create this background here. So we're going to grab a paper trimmer, and I'm going to go ahead and cut. Some of the pieces I'm okay cutting a little bit big at maybe 1 inch, but then I kind of want to try to keep the pieces no bigger than 1 inch. So you can go ahead and cut that down into as many pieces as you want. For this one, I'm going to go ahead and trim it to 4.25. That's the largest size that I need of height. So because I'm not going to go any larger than my card base. And then you can cut this one. This one I'll probably cut down to 2 different sizes. I like to try and keep the sizes not even. I also have this 1/2 inch piece that I'll cut to 4.25 inches. And then maybe get a 3/4 or so from that one. And I may still have some scrap pieces left over after I'm done. This piece is a little bit short, so I'm going to go ahead and rotate it. Maybe cut 2 or 3 of those ones. I'm going to go a little bigger. So that's 1.25 inches. And then rotate and cut it down to 4.25. And then maybe cut it again at a different 2 different widths. Okay. So in the end, I probably have about 7, let's see, maybe about 9 different strips here. I may not use all of them, but it's nice to have a variety. Okay. So there are those. The next thing I'm going to do is just take some scrap paper. This is just regular copy paper, and I have it cut to 4.5 inches by 5.5 inches. So it's quite large, and I'm going to go ahead and glue all of these pieces to this thin copy paper here. So I'm going to just start with one of these, and I'm going to put it all the way to one side. And then after that, I can just kind of add all the pieces. Sometimes with these scrap cards, you can add them at angles, or you can add them nice and straight like I am. I'm just going to do nice straight scraps today. So I'm going to just add those. Maybe let's do a large white pattern. I like using the liquid glue for this because it makes it easy for me to move things around a little bit. After that, let's Let's do one of these gray pieces. It doesn't have to look just like the one I did before, so you can kind of mix and match the colors any way you like. I'm going to do now the navy piece. The nice thing is I still have some paper left over, so I do still have some envelope, that boho blue envelope, and I also have some Night of Navy. So if I need more of those colors, I can always add some more. Now you may notice that this Calypso Coral pattern, it does have a direction to it because of those cute little foxes, but I'm not worrying about that for this card here. Then I might end with just another strip from this. So I need maybe 1/4 of an inch, or maybe not, let's see. Because I really only need 5 1/4 inches, and I'm kind of sitting right there at 5 1/4. So I think I might be okay. We'll see. Or you know what, I'm just gonna go ahead and fill it up, and then I can cut it off if I want. So I'm going to go a little bit bigger, maybe 3/8 of an inch with some Night of Navy on that end piece. And for this one, I'm going to just add a little glue to that background paper so that I know exactly where I need it. Okay. And then if you want to add any extra layers, you can. So if I wanted to maybe add this one back over on top, or maybe I could add the boho blue over that one. That might be fun too. So I think it's okay. But you can kind of play around with any of those scraps. Don't worry about overdoing it. So once you have everything in place, you can trim it down. So I'm going to go ahead and start on this side, and I'm just going to trim it so that I know that I have a nice straight cut all the way across. And then here I can make sure that I've got it at 5 1/4. And you know what, I'm going to go a little bit bigger, and then I'll trim down some more. And then again here, the final dimension we need for the height is 4 inches. So we're going 4 inches to 5 1/4. So I'm going to go ahead and move that top down to 4 inches. And then I'll finish it up by trimming off just a little bit on this side here at 5 1/4. Okay. So I think that looks really good. Then we're going to go ahead and add that to a card base. I like to use thick basic white cardstock, and I'm just going to place some liquid glue on that copy paper and then add it right to the center of my card base here. So you should have just a little border all the way around. Make sure it's nice and even. And then you'll just, of course, want to smooth everything out with your bone folder on the inside of your card base so you don't accidentally tear any of that paper. Okay, so now I'm excited to share with you this really cute focal point that I created with some of the leftover pieces. So I have the blank label with the blue stitching around the edge. I also have one of these floral vases that I have left over. And so I wanted to come up with something that could fill up the space, but also created a fun little arrangement. So to begin, I'm going to take the vase stamp. I'm not sure if you can see that very well. And I'm going to stamp it in boho blue on the right side here. This is going to give a little bit of a backdrop to my vase that I want in the front. So I'm just going to go ahead and take that and squeeze it as close as you want to the edge of your label. So you're just going to get a nice simple image like that. Then you're going to take your Night of Navy ink and find a greeting. And I really like this thank you. And it doesn't come from the stamp set in the kit. I did use this stamp set from Stampin' Up. It's called Good Feelings, and it just has this really simple thank you that's nice and large. So I'm going to go ahead and use that. And it is a rubber stamp. So I'm going to go ahead, ink it up, and then I'm going to stamp it on the left side of the label. Kind of near the top. So next we're going to stamp some flowers for our bouquet. And the other coordinating color is that Calypso Coral that we have in the pattern paper in the background. So I'm going to use Calypso Coral and a little bit of Old Olive for some stems and leaves. And I want 3 flowers. And 2 of those flowers I'm going to add a stem to. And we really haven't used the stem image that came in the kit yet. So it's this little squiggly line. And I'm going to go ahead and ink it up in Old Olive and then stamp it at the bottom of 2 flowers, just like that. And then I'm going to fussy cut all of these out. And the ones with the stems, I'm going to fussy cut them together. So you're just going to run it around the stem and then go ahead and move to the flower. They're very easy to cut out, so not hard at all. So you're going to go ahead and do that with all of those images. So once you've done that, add some mini dimensionals to the back of those flowers. And then let's go ahead and add them to our card. And oh, there's my little mini strips. Add that to the back of the vase. And place that in front of the boho blue vase. And you can bring it down close to the bottom of the label. And make sure you have enough room to create like a little bouquet there. So you're going to take one of your flowers with the stem and you'll just add it to the left of your vase. And then take your second vase or flower with a stem and add it kind of near the top of the label. So maybe something like that. I might rotate this one just a little bit so that we can get those stems a little closer to each other. I'm going to cut a little off so it fits a little better. There. Maybe something like that. It's a little bit better. And then you'll take the third flower, and this is just going to go near the bottom. So don't cover up the stems yet. You want to kind of still see those. Maybe I'll bring that down a little bit more. There. Okay. So something like that. Next, we're going to take that greenery image and ink that up in Old Olive and stamp it on some scratch paper. And then you're going to fussy cut out these little leaves as well. And you can do as many as you want. The larger ones are a little bit easier to cut out, and don't focus too much on trying to get in between each leaf. Just do a general outline as you come around. And you're not going to be able to do every one because you'll be a little too close to some. if you're trying to get others. I hope that makes sense. So you're just going to go ahead and cut these out. If you did get the die cut add-on that goes with this kit, it was an extra product that you could purchase. They have sold out of those die cuts now, but you could use the little leaf die cut with some old olive cardstock instead of doing this step if you want. So you're going to go ahead and take some of those leaves. I have done some already. I have 3 large and then 1 tiny little one. And I've added those to some glue dots. And you're just going to go ahead and pop these underneath your flowers. And you could use as many as you want. This one is going a little sideways, looks a little wrong. So I'm just going to kind of gently pull. Sometimes those glue dots come out really easily. I think I want it to be more going up instead of out. And then kind of tuck it in behind that one. And kind of with this one too. This one kind of feels a little bit wrong. So bring that one down a little bit more. Maybe something like that. Doesn't need to be perfect. I'm going to add this little extra one kind of down here in the front. Okay, so kind of play around with it. There's really no right or wrong to where you add those leaves. And if you want to add more flowers, you can do that too. Okay, so the last thing we want to do is stamp our little friend. And this little die, this is a die cut that I used here. And it's part of the, okay, so they're called the Countryside Corners dies. And they make this label here. I really love them. But there's this little tag label here in the middle. And I'm going to show you how I use that to create this tiny little friend label here. So you can see that it's a little larger. The label is larger than the tag. So on some scratch paper, just some basic white scratch paper, go ahead and cut out that whole piece using your Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. Okay, so then you're going to get this label and it looks like that. And we want to cut it about halfway. So you're going to place the label back inside the die cut. And there are some grooves. And so it should fit really nicely back inside. Go ahead and just line it up about halfway, and then you run it through your machine again. So then you're going to get a label that looks like this, and you're going to take that and your friend stamp from the kit. So this stamp does come in the kit along with the Night of Navy Stampin' Spot. Ink it up and then stamp it right in the center of that label. And then you'll just take a little piece of one of these strips. You don't need the whole thing. And we're just going to place it on the left side of the label, so underneath the F, because it's going to overlap the vase on the right side. Like that. And you want to put it up high enough that it does kind of connect with your words. So it says, "Thank you, friend." And then we'll take the rest of, not the rest, but the rest of that one, and then a couple more of these dimensional strips and add them to the back of the label. And then we'll place it right onto our card base. If you need to add a little glue dot underneath that to hold it in place, you can do that. We get a lot of these little great tiny glue dots in our paper pumpkin kits. And so maybe something like that would work well because it looks like it's kind of up. And so you just lift that up, tuck the glue dot where it needs to be, and then press down. Okay. The last thing you can add if you'd like are some of the Night of Navy enamel dots that came in the kit. Go ahead and place those around your vase and your greeting, and your card is all done. Well, I hope you enjoyed watching me create this fun scrap card. If you're interested in getting measurements or see pictures on how I created this card, you can visit my blog, creativechelsey.com. If you would like to get your own paper pumpkin kit, please use the link below in the description to subscribe. Thanks so much for watching. Have a creative day. Bye.